Hello. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker, and today is Monday, February 3rd. Coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, USA. Again, the weather in this area today will be going up to 70 degrees. Still wintertime, which is kind of a shock to the system considering we're just coming out of a Arctic frigid cold snap. Temperatures below zero. Anyway, sunny today, highs in the low 70s and lows in the upper 40s. Groundhog Day 2025. Did Phil see his shadow? Yes. 6 more weeks of winter. Temperatures a little higher than yesterday by 7 degrees. So today's sunrise in this area on the East Coast was at 7:40 a.m. Sunset will be at 6:03 p.m. The wind, 10 miles per hour. The AQI is good at 26. Coming up for the Northeast and Midwest face potentially crippling ice storm that could knock out power and snarl travel this week. Again, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. If you're watching, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today is Monday, February 3rd, a new month. We are approximately 2 weeks into the Trump administration. And I'm going to take a minute here to kind of connect the dots. I wasn't on Friday because I hadn't been feeling good earlier in the week. So let me kind of set this up. President Trump has been signing executive orders like hotcakes on Sunday morning, to use an expression. One of the things that he said was that the CDC, Center for Disease Control, was to stop making announcements and notifications until he had a team in place that could take a look at what they were putting out to the public. That's the condensed version. Okay, so we already know, and this is from the Weather Channel, that the flu and COVID-19 cases are on the rise. So I already suffer from allergies personally. So I was getting that little scratchy throat, little cough, little sniffles. So rather than wait, I went right over to the hospital and got seen and found out that I had the flu. But because I was so early in going in seeking treatment, then I only had like a couple of days to deal with it, and I received the medication and everything else like that. But what I forgot was that when you go in complaining about symptoms related to the common cold, that they're going to give you a COVID-19 test. And I'm not a big fan of them trying to find out how close my brain is to my sinuses. I'm just not. So anyway, the big thing is changes in that area is rather than having to wait days for the results of the COVID-19 test, it's just minutes, technically speaking. So that was ruled out. So I did have the flu, and I was given medication for treatment and told to take a couple of days to make sure I kept that routine going, and then I could return to my routine. So that's kind of like where we're at. So I'm passing this on to you. If you have any kind of symptoms that, persist for more than a couple of days, I would say 3 days max, go in and find out what you have. because between the flu, COVID-19, which can develop into pneumonia, and if you don't follow the doctor's directions on pneumonia, it can return, and you can have pneumonia back to back. All those are respiratory illnesses. And the other thing is to keep the proper perspective on things. Remember, these are airborne illnesses, airborne viruses. So you can't say, well, I was around this person or I was around that person and that's where I got it from. It's an airborne viruses. All those respiratory illnesses are airborne viruses. So you cannot create like in the early days of COVID-19, create a contact list of people that you've been around, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm bringing you up to speed, letting you know. And I even forgot that they had sent all these COVID-19 home test kits out with a bunch of other things besides the face mask. And they even have provided people, the public, with the Narcan overdose drug nasal spray. So you almost have everything right there at home that you might need to see what's going on with you. But still, like, I'm not a doctor. Most of us are not medically trained personnel. So go in and get a professional opinion so you know not only what you have and what you don't have, which is why I say keep your doctor's appointments, see your primary physician as often as is recommended, and follow their medical advice. So that's what's going on here. So today, Monday, excuse me, first Monday of the month, the news is from the Google feed. I know over the weekend we had athletic games. Biggest thing was the Grammys. So let's just get into it. After several questionable jokes during his Grammys opening monologue, Trevor Noah is facing backlash. And here's something from the Google feed. Start every morning strong. Free app to keep you inspired. And here's a sample of what the app has on it. Forgive them even if they aren't sorry. Let them be right if that's what they need. Send them love and send them off. Don't tie yourself to small-mindedness. It will steal your well-being. Start every morning strong. Next one. Luka Doncic breaks silence following trade from Dallas Mavericks. I wanted so badly to bring you a championship. Excuse my cough. Wanted so badly to bring you a championship. Next one. Willow and Jaden Smith show off daring looks on Grammy 2025 red carpet. Did he really have a house on his head? Work to start on Heritage Park on Northampton Castle site. This is from the BBC News. And Beyonce gets emotional after finally winning Album of the Year at 2025 Grammys. And Cowboy Carter won, and she received the award from Taylor Swift. Next one, here in Lexington over the weekend, there was big doings over at Rump Arena. Arkansas came to play Kentucky. Adu Terrell and DJ Wagner recap 89-79 win over number 12 Kentucky. Arkansas, John Calipari's return. Next one, extremely special to me. the classic Motown hit Barry Gordy Couldn't Live Without. And the name of that tune was I Hear a Symphony, which was released by Diana Ross and the Supremes while they were a couple. Next one, Will Smith presenting at Grammy Awards. And again, this was one of those things that probably as the program had been, the agenda for the program had been presented, people became aware of what was going on. So this is from Stephen A. Smith, and it is a video clip. So I'm going to let you hear it.
The 2025 Grammy Awards are this weekend, and some of the presenters have been announced. Earlier today, the Recording Academy revealed that Cardi B, SZA, and Will Smith will join Taylor Swift among the presenters at the award show. One could argue this is a big moment for Will Smith, who hasn't presented on this big of a stage since slapping comedian Chris Rock at the Oscars in 2022. Smith did perform at the BET Awards last summer, but that's been about it in terms of appearing in major award shows. By the way, the Grammys will also celebrate the life of Quincy Jones in addition to the resilience of Los Angeles amid the ongoing fires in the city. But I want to focus on Will Smith. Obviously, I've been critical of Will Smith because I'm a friend of Chris Rock's, and I don't appreciate what Will did. But I want to thank several people. I want to thank my man Charlie Mack, who was a bodyguard and a longtime friend spanning decades for Will Smith. I want to thank the great Antoine Fuqua, the director and producer extraordinaire who did Emancipation with Will Smith. Would have won an Oscar for that too had Will Smith not slapped Chris Rock. I want to thank Will Packer, who produced the Oscars, that same Oscars that Will Smith did what he did with Chris Rock. I want to thank my man Dougie Cash, who used to work at Hulu and used to work under Will Smith years ago and stuff like that. They weren't the only ones, but primarily those four brothers reached out to me directly. And Charlie Mack was the most profound, because I had said something about Will Smith prior to Bad Boys Ride or Die coming out, which, by the way, was a fantastic movie I've now seen about 5 times. And Charlie Mack said, "What about Grace, Stephen A? He made a mistake." And I explained to Charlie Mack that as bad as I thought it was to be slapping a black man on national television, what really vexed me most was how it would affect Will Packer, how it would affect Antoine Fuqua, how it would affect Chris Rock. And I thought about the collateral damage that would take fold and how it would detrimentally affect opportunities for all of us down the line. And I just found myself asking, how could he do that? How could he lose himself and hurt all of us like that? But Will Smith is a fantastic artist who's done so much for so many people in this world, especially folks from our community. That reality is they were right. And I've known that for quite some time, which is why I haven't said anything from Will Smith. To see him in the movies is a great thing. To see him still thriving is a great thing. Chris Rock has moved on with his life. Who says Will Smith isn't entitled to do so himself? And to think about him coming back to the big stage and being at the awards or what have you, I'm quite sure he'll get a good ovation. And it'll be because none of us want to be measured by our worst moment. All of us are flawed in the eyes of God. I knew that before, but I know that even now. And to my man Dougie, and to Antoine Fuqua, and to Will Packer, and especially to my man Charlie Mack, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for reminding me of something I should have known all along. Despite what Will Smith did, he's still one of the great ones. And he's one of the genuine good guys. He made a mistake. And all of us should move on, especially since Chris Rock has moved on. And we should just march ahead and wish him nothing but the best to him and his family. That's where I'm at with it. I just wanted to say that. More to Stephen A. Smith show.
You remember those stimulus checks from 2020?
So that was the video clip. Stephen A. Smith himself talking about Will Smith at the Grammy Awards. And what better way to do it than to let the man speak for himself. Now, on to our top stories for February 3rd, 2025. Off the news feed. Number 1, North Korea criticizes Rubio for calling it a rogue state. Panama pledges to end key canal deal with China, work with the U.S. after Rubio visit. Canada punches back against Trump with major tariffs of its own as trade wars set to begin. Next one. Markets thought Trump was bluffing about tariffs and completely underpriced risks. Next one. Musk rips fraudulent Treasury handouts as reports to Mount DOGE has access to federal payment. Agents have started to pack up their desks as fear of FBI mass firings swirl. Grammy 2025 winners, all the stars who won awards. Rubio meets with Panamanian president amid Trump's Panama Canal push. Canadian ambassador to the U.S. says Canadians are perplexed, disappointed by Trump tariffs. And number 10 of the top stories today, what to know about Trump's USAID changes, USAID, after Elon Musk's Doge accesses classified info. Coming off this weekend, especially with the Grammy Awards and any other time really, I wanted to take a moment to address the idea of success as we know it today. Whether it's your success or somebody else's, rest assured that it did not come overnight. And anybody that can successfully beat the odds in Hollywood deserves their recognition for their wins. We already know that we're not perfect, so the path of life's journey is not always smooth. It definitely has its ups and downs. Just how far up is based on our choices, just like how far down is too. Something to close out with. A little girl runs up to her mother and says, "Mommy, somebody left the toilet seat up and I almost fell in again." And here's a question for all you thinkers. Can you jump higher than the Empire State Building? Answer, if I was to answer, of course I can. because the Empire State Building can't jump. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Monday, February 3rd, 2025. That's it. Hashtag.